Welcome back to Book Break! So, you're thinking of doing Veganuary. I know there are loads of reasons why people are sometimes too scared to do Veganuary or think they won't be able to make it, so I'm here to hopefully change your mind about that and give you some book recommendations to help you along your way. So the number one reason that people are usually scared of doing Veganuary is how extreme it feels. Especially if you usually eat meat, suddenly going vegan is a really big deal, and that's 31 whole days with no meat, no cheese, no eggs. Sounds impossible. Well, firstly, it's not impossible, and we'll get to that in a minute. But secondly, if you really do think it sounds too hard for you, then okay, go gently on yourself. It doesn't have to be all or nothing when you go vegan. So maybe you could use Veganuary to just increase the number of plant-based meals that you eat, and you're still making a massive difference. So for that reason, the number one book that I'm recommending is Veganish by Jack Monroe. So Jack Monroe describes herself as mostly vegan. She does eat pretty much entirely a plant-based diet, but as she does so much work with food banks and working with really low-income families who just don't have the flexibility or resources to be 100% vegan, she doesn't have to be strict about it. And in this book, she's got some really amazing stats about the difference that you make going vegan even just for one day. So she points out in here that for every day you go vegan, you save on average 1 animal, 40 pounds of grain, 1,100 gallons of water, and 30 square feet of forest. That's if you only did one day of Veganuary. So for however many meals you do decide to go vegan, Jack Monroe's got 100 really affordable and delicious, totally plant-based recipes in here. She may only be veganish, but all of the recipes in here are 100% vegan. So I've already got my eye on these pear and ginger pancakes for breakfast, a chickpea Caesar salad for lunch, and look at this crispy chow mein for dinner. And of course, there's lots of delicious looking dessert recipes in here as well. I am definitely going to be making these orange and almond brownies. And if you are still a bit unconvinced that going only part-time vegan can really make that much of a difference, the next book I recommend is The Reducitarian Solution, which is all about the effects of cutting down your meat consumption by just 10%. So that one is a collection of essays from various influential thinkers giving their advice for how to cut down on meat and animal products, as well as their research on what an amazing difference that can make. And also it's got veggie and vegan recipes in the book as well. Now the second thing that people are nervous of when it comes to doing Veganuary is that the food is going to be boring, and it's going to be a month of just depriving themselves of all their favourite foods and eating nothing but carrots. But that's just so not true, especially these days. In fact, everything on this table is vegan. The massive trend at the moment for vegan food means you'll probably find vegan options at whatever restaurant you go to, and if you're cooking at home, the options are endless. So I've already mentioned Veganish, and there's an incredible range of vegan recipes in there, but now I've got 2 more cookbooks to show you. Firstly, the 28-day vegan plan. This one's really useful for planning out your Veganuary. It's got week-by-week recipes and shopping lists and tips for meal prepping, and the recipes in here are amazing. You've got everything from mac and cheese to tacos to ice cream. You can make anything vegan, it turns out. And then I thought I'd put a veggie cookbook in here, as we are talking about taking Veganuary at your own pace, but there's loads of totally vegan recipes in here as well. And all of these recipes take around 15 minutes, which just shows that eating vegan does not have to be that hard. Okay, your third hurdle. Maybe you're just a bit unconvinced in the first place. You might have heard a lot about Veganuary, but you're still not quite sure why we actually should go vegan. So for that, I'm going to recommend 2 books that have had a huge impact on my life and inspired me to make decisions about my own diet. So the first is Animal Liberation by Peter Singer. So this is kind of the founding philosophical book about animal rights from the 70s, and it introduces the concept of speciesism, which is basically questioning why we consider non-human lives to be less valuable than human lives. So it is quite radical, but it's really, really interesting, and it throws up all these quite uncomfortable questions which will make you just reconsider the way you think about animals. And then for a less radical approach, this is actually my favourite book about veganism, is Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. So this is Jonathan Safran Foer going on his own journey to make decisions about the food that he wants to eat, and he wrote this book after he had his son, so it's making decisions about the food he wants to feed to his son. So it's absolutely not any kind of strict moral lecture on veganism. It's a really balanced approach. He speaks to loads of different people and considers lots of different viewpoints in discovering more about the food industry. And basically he does just find that in terms of animal rights, environmental reasons, economical reasons, health reasons, everything, there are so many reasons why it's beneficial to go vegan. And finally, the last thing people might need some help with in Veganuary, maybe the vegan diet doesn't scare you at all, but what about the other aspects of living a vegan life that don't get talked about as much? So for that, I recommend the book Vegan Life by Jo Peters, which has got loads of advice for how to introduce veganism into all areas of your life, and it makes it really easy to know what to look for in the clothes you wear, the household products that you use, the makeup that you wear. It shows you what to look for when you're shopping for those things, and also some tips on how to DIY your own products. So hopefully those books will make you feel a little bit more prepared, and good luck for trying out Veganuary. And of course, do give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and leave a comment below letting us know if you are going to be doing Veganuary and any advice you have, so we can all swap tips in the comments for all of us who are going to try it out. And do hit that subscribe button for new videos every week. Coming up next week, we've got a video all about cozy crime books, which is just perfect for this time of year. And in the meantime, you can always go and follow us over on Instagram at BookBreakUK. See you next time!